Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through an upper deload workout. So for my starting main movement, I decided to just do 2 sets of 5 at 70 kilos on strict press. So my max strict press is 92.5 kilos, which is all right, but I am way better for reps on strict presses. Like, these sets of 5s felt very comfortable and easy, even though the percentage is like 75% higher than that, nearing 80%. Compare that to on my lower days, I only did like 60% on my trap bar deadlifts, for example, and they actually felt more challenging than this. But they moved well. I was happy with those strict presses. Nice to just get a press in, and I decided to do strict presses because they're a much lighter variation. So it is still a higher percentage, but it's only 70 kilos at the end of the day. So the fatigue is very low, which is perfect for deload weeks. Then moving on to the first accessory here, it is single arm overhead dumbbell tricep extensions. So I actually haven't done these in ages in my training. To be honest, I haven't done them much ever. These felt really good, to be honest. What I'm trying to do is keep my elbow fixed in a position and then just lock it out. However, it feels like quite difficult to do that. Watching it back, I'm almost more like pressing the dumbbell up, but I'm trying to think about the dumbbell like arcing round, and it did actually hit the triceps fairly effectively. I think I only did sets of 10 or 12. Just because I think I thought the 15 kilo dumbbell was going to be pretty easy. I'd easily get sets of 15 because I like to do higher rep sets when I'm doing my deload weeks, but this was slightly more challenging, and obviously there's no point like pushing to failure for the sake of saying, oh, I want it to be high reps. That is not a good logic. The point of the deload week is to take things a little bit easier and to get me primed. And this is actually my last deload week for this week. I spoke a little earlier on in the week. If you saw the last 2 episodes, I've only done 1 lower deload week because my lower dynamic from last week spilt into earlier of Monday this week. That was for a number of reasons to do with like the extreme heat in the UK and some injuries and stuff that I was experiencing and some pain. So I covered them during that, but basically I'm just wanting to take things easy on this upper workout. This was on Saturday, and on Monday or Tuesday I'll do my upper max. So the next accessory here was pull-ups. I think I've only done pull-ups again once during this series. Now, this is obviously a bit heavier. I was being a little bit lazy. I had some sort of back movement programmed, and I didn't want to have to deal with like any weights. I literally thought it'd be easy to pull up, but I am laughing a bit at myself there. I only managed to get 6 pull-ups, and on the second set, I only managed to get 5, which, to be honest, is pretty pathetic. I think I could do like double that when I was about 12 years old. I could do like 10, 15 pull-ups. So it's pretty sad regression, but I mean, in all fairness, I'm weighing like 250 pounds now, and I weighed like maybe 150 back then. So the pull-ups are not where they should be at the moment, but hopefully as I'm dropping weight, I am coming back down into the 105 kilo weight class, which is like 230 pounds, 231. Hopefully the pull-ups go up a bit. But again, I was just doing them and trialing them out because that is something I don't normally do. So deload weeks are a great opportunity to do exercises that you're not normally going to do, but you know, you still want them to be effective, similar to the tricep extensions overhead and those pull-ups, and just to test, are they feeling good and do I want to do them in my next cycle? So yeah, I'll probably include them in the rotations. So yeah, both of those felt good. Then moving on to the next accessory, it is chest press. So I did 100 kilos or 220 pounds, which is moderately heavy for me, and I think I did it for 2 sets of 12, and it actually moved really easily. Maybe I only got a set of 10 on the second set. It doesn't matter. These felt really good and mark a huge progression in my chest press. If I think back to about a year ago, this was my working weight for like a set of 8 or 10. And to be honest, I was normally pressing like 180 to 200 pounds. So the fact that 220 pounds for some easy sets of 12 is my deload effort now, I am very happy with that, and hopefully that should translate over into my bench press. It definitely has done, not by like the same margin. It's not because I'm like pressing 40 pounds heavier. I've not put 40 pounds on my bench press, but it has helped contribute to I'm probably about 20-30 pounds stronger than I was last year. So the next accessory here is loo raises. I just decided to go really light on these at 5 kilos and get some blood into the delt. So I think I did a set of 22 here on the first set and maybe just a set of 20 on the second set. This did actually burn more than I thought, particularly on the second set, but having a bit of a burn during deload weeks, like I've said this multiple times in previous deload workouts, but deloads are about doing less, not doing nothing. So if you're thinking, it's coming up to a deload week, whether you program your deload weeks like me or you take one because of life factors, if you're really ill, okay, maybe you can't get into the gym. But I think people sometimes just let themselves have a deload week, or if it's programmed, just think, I don't need to hit my sessions. Now, for me, obviously, like I said, I'm only doing one lower session this week, but that is because I think that's more optimal than trying to cram 3 workouts, like 2 extra deload lower workouts on top of the lower dynamic that spilt over to Monday into 1 week. I think that would actually be worse for me. So you've got to do what works out. Life always happens. That's the way things fell. And this week, that is why I've decided to do that, but it was like a conscious decision about what's better for training rather than just letting yourself skip things. So yeah, you should still be putting effort in, and like on those loo raises, I said I felt a bit of a burn, and I have on a few of the exercises here. To be honest, the pull-ups were fairly maximal. I don't think I could have got any more reps on those. That is fine. The main thing is not having like neurological fatigue for powerlifters, so not doing some really heavy compound lift, and also not pushing to like abject failure or doing drop sets. But yeah, deloads are not about doing nothing. They're still moderate effort. So that is consistent with the next exercise here as well, which is hammer curls at 25 kilos. So I think I did sets of 15, 16, something like that, which is near my working weight. It is fairly high rep, but they felt really good as well. And to be honest, that I'd have taken that in any normal week of training. So it felt deloaded, it felt easy. I could probably have pushed to like high teens, maybe 20 reps on those. Again, not trying to push to failure, and I was happy with them. So to end the session off, I decided to just do an isometric ab hold. So the last ab exercise I did before this at the beginning of the deload week were like long GHD sit-ups on this GHD, but I was like stretching my abs right out. So I did have a bit of abdoms actually going into this workout. So I just decided to keep things like still train the abs. Again, the philosophy of still training during the deload week, not just letting yourself off the hook and going, I'm not going to do anything, but just pick a more sensible variation. So I just did 1 set instead of 2 sets, and I just did as much time as possible, like holding this static position. And it was challenging. I was actually shaking through the whole thing. This camera doesn't really pick it up, but it was training like breath control as well, which is great. But yeah, I was happy with that, and that is the session. As I turn around here, by the way, I've ripped my shorts. I'm not some psychopath who likes to grab their crotch while staring into a camera. I unfortunately have split my shorts. But that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. And I hope you have a great day.